How's it going, guys? Welcome back. I hope you're doing well. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over why I think you should give Moonlight Awakening a shot. So before we do, some of you may know I do like to do unscripted content, so if it does get a little long-winded, I will be sure to post chapters down below for easy navigation. So than that, let's get into it. We do have another spear video. So Moonlight Awakening. You're going to get this skill from a set that's you get pretty early from the golden set, and the 6-piece bonus is Moonlight Awakening. Now the set itself, I'll say the set itself is okay. The best thing about the set, in my opinion, is the dodge stamina cost decrease, and then the trance damage is kind of nice too. But the dodge stamina cost decrease, again, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, I really just like having the fuel, right? The fuel to do what you want. So we dodge a lot, so decreasing that dodge cost is really nice for us. But yep, so the last set bonus piece there is going to be Moonlight Awakening. And so it's not attached to the weapon. It's a full 6-piece, and there's no jewelry, so you have to use the full set. That, in my opinion, is the biggest downside to this, because it's a really cool skill. It really is. It's a really cool skill, and it forces you to change up your playstyle a little bit, which I like. But I wish that you could just use it with a different weapon, right? Like Killing Flash would be cool, right? Or, something like that. But other than the set I'm using for this, for the fights, I'm using a jar with these 2 rings, the Faded Memories ring and then the Warrior ring. So I'm getting Fury on Brink Dodge to help, again, fuel those attacks. Now let's get into the skill itself. So Moonlight Awakening. Moonlight becomes a piercing attack when used after trance. So if you've watched any of my other spear content, you know I do use trance a lot. Part of that is, again, I like to play fast, but trance, unfortunately, is the only skill that has an instantaneous activation. Like, it is right when you want it, you pop it, and it's there. That makes it a really good skill to use as a bridge in combos to other skills. If other skills had as fast of an activation time, I would use those more, let's say, more equally, right? But trance, and that's kind of how they want it to be used, so I get it. But either way, rant aside, I use trance a lot. So because it is that bridge type of skill, this kind of forces you to rethink how many times you use Moonlight after trance if you want to use that as a bridge. And usually you go trance, Moonlight into like Shadow Reversal or Assault. So this forces you to be more aware and think about when you reactivate Moonlight. If you do it after trance, you're going to reposition behind an enemy. So just be aware of that. But again, you have to be aware of that and change it up because this is active. Now, why I like this skill, though, not only, what I've just talked about, but when you position behind your enemy, you can do this before they're exhausted, after they're exhausted, but you can also do it during their combo. So, I'll put this on screen, I think, so I can help give you more of a visual. So enemies' attacks track you, right? But they don't always track you throughout the entire animation. So as an example, if an enemy's attack from initiation to when it hits you, or let's just say when it completes, right? And they begin their recovery. From activation to that completion, if it has, let's say an attack has 10 frames. I'm just using this as an example. The first part of their attack, let's just say 6 frames. The first 6 frames of their attack are going to track you. Then there's going to be 2 frames before it hits you. There's going to be 2 frames where it stops tracking you, but they're obviously mid-swing. So there's going to be 2 frames where they stop tracking you, and then the last 2 frames of the attack are when that hitbox would connect with you. So 6 frames, they're initiating their attack, they're tracking you, then there's 2 frames where they have stopped tracking you, and that basically their hit is going to land where it's going to land, right? And then those last two are going to hit you. So when you know this, it allows you mid-combo, or again, if an enemy is attacking you, when you use trance, you can activate Moonlight, and kind of like Howling Blade, right? After trance, there can be a little bit of a window before the combo drops, so to speak, where you can use Moonlight, and so you can time it to get behind your enemy and reposition. Now, as they track you, they don't instantaneously 180, right? If they're not exhausted, they're going to face you, right? So they're not going to instantaneously 180 and face you again, because they do have a turn speed, right? There is a type of turn speed, even though it is fast. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because if you're trying to, because how I like to play, right? I don't really like to stun lock my enemy. I don't like to use reflection. I don't like to, even like full moon. Like full moon really, it does a lot of stagger, right? So if you use full moon and then trance and then Moonlight Awakening, you're going to get behind your opponent and they're going to be stun locked, right? Which is really beneficial, though, right? A lot of people do that. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because it can still be useful even when your opponent is not stun locked and you want to reposition behind. Because in that example, if they're finishing an attack, they're going to resume, in their recovery frames, you're going to be behind them. So that's more of the application of Moonlight as far as, when to use it in combat, and just a couple things to be aware of. Because again, when you first start playing the game, for those new players, or if you just picked up Spear, you might not really know this, right? It's one of those things that you pick up after a while. At least was for me. But moving on, with Moonlight Awakening, I do like to use it mostly with Assault, because right after you get behind them, you get a lot of stamina damage with Assault, especially for enemies from behind, and it's pretty quick, right? It really flows well together. But keep in mind, because I'm primarily a Shadow Reversal enjoyer, I really like Shadow Reversal, you can use it with Shadow Reversal too, right? Obviously. And a good one that I like to do is I'll do Moonlight Awakening into Shadow Reversal into only the initial stab. That way you can Moonlight, you can Shadow Reversal into the stab, you don't have to turn them around and around again, right? You can just hit the initial stab and then trance, and then you can do, whatever from there. So in that, guys, that's really all I have to say about Moonlight Awakening. Other than, again, it's really useful at face value. But I should just say in application, it can be really useful. But similar to, I would say, similar to Dragon Slayer Momentum with dual wield, I think a lot of people kind of write it off at first because it can be a little clunky if you're not used to it, right? So with a little bit of seat time, I think that you'll really enjoy it, and you'll be able to see how beneficial that it can be. And again, it's really fun to use, reposition. It makes you kind of quicker, right? So in that, guys, I hope you enjoy the fights. I got 3 fights for you. One with Trokka, one with the Saint of Sin, and then one with the Beast of Madness. So yeah, guys, that is going to be Moonlight Awakening. Please, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.